There are a lot of things that I do not see the typical online homesteader, family cow owner sharing on their vlogs, and I think it's time to share some really important stuff today. The cheese is really good, the milk is really exciting. Milking itself is like this glorious, beautiful, anchoring thing that I have come to love in owning our milk cow, and she is the asset that I never knew I would fall in love with. I knew she would be fantastic, and I knew she would be important to us. But I didn't know how I would feel like falling in love with your cow. And that is so romantic, and it is all very, very true. I don't know what our life will be like when Goldie is no longer our primary milk cow. It will be devastating. It will be a heartbreak, and it will be a loss. And I think that is the side of the internet that people are very happy to share about, to discuss all of the good things about having a family milk cow. But I think because a lot of people are not sharing the other things, that it's easy to have your husband pull right into your shot. Because those things are so attractive and romantic and all the wonderful things that they should be, there is a lot that isn't shared about what's hard about a family milk cow. And we're going through a hard thing with Goldie right now, and I think it would be good to just talk more about. Dairy cows are high-need animals. It is not getting a dog and just switching its feed along the way. And I knew when we got Goldie that she was gonna be a lot of work and a lot of effort, and not just we wake up and we milk in the morning and then we make sure she's milked out before bed. We get her lots of hay. It wasn't just going to be the routine that changed. And I talked to my friend Janess at Vaughn Family Farm. She created this really great cow course, and it was just what I needed to sink my teeth into wrapping my mind around what it would take to care for a family milk cow. Goldie is a purebred Jersey. We got her when I was, I don't know, maybe halfway through my pregnancy with Georgia, and I was having a hard time taking in enough calories. So we were gonna just run hours away to go get raw milk and make shakes every day, high protein shakes. Or it was like, well, we've kind of wanted one of these all along. Let's start searching for a family milk cow. So in looking for her, we found someone who was not super far away, about an hour away, and he was downsizing his herd. He'd been a Jersey breeder for years and years, and he was deciding to get out of farming, ranching altogether. He was going to retire. And Art was such a kind teacher for us. He helped us pick out one of the great cows from his herd that he knew would be good at being like a hand-milked dairy cow. So the rhythm, the anchor of having a dairy cow was very romantic at the time, but I knew from being here long enough and having enough animals that there was no way this dairy cow was just gonna be like a walk in the park. And since then, we have learned a lot about them. I wanna highlight a few of those resources that we've been using because I think they are worth their weight in gold. I think when we got a milk cow, we knew that we were getting into something where we would be the ones foraging the path. There is no, let me move a little bit there. I'm gonna relocate because of fire ants. I knew when we got a milk cow that we were foraging the path. We were going to be the people who were in our community learning and then teaching the next people who wanted to learn. There are lots and lots of ranchers in our area, lots of cow owners, not very many dairy cow owners. I like how she just gave us her rear right now. Like, that was so thoughtful of her. And that meant even our veterinarians that we were gonna talk to were not gonna be a great source for us to bounce ideas off of or ask questions or troubleshoot things with. So we had to do a lot of the work ourselves. And here's a couple of places where I've gone. The first is I've gone to Janess, right? Friends online that have experience and knowledge and tons of insight into what could happen when your cow isn't cycling the way that you expect them to. What can you feed your cow when they are going into lactation? What are important minerals to have on hand so that you're supporting their immune system overall? What does it look like when your cow is in immune distress? There are so many questions that you just can't go on the internet and search Google for. You really need someone to hold your hand. So that's where not an ad, not a sponsorship, but Stockholders Exchange came from. But I found all these articles by an organic, holistic dairy vet who is working with organic dairies primarily and in the Amish country. And the reason that I even considered searching more into him was his articles were really approachable. They were things that I could digest. I could read an article by him and I was like, holy cow, I feel like I learned something and I feel like I understand it enough that I could tell someone else about it. So I researched more into this vet, and his name is Dr. Karaman, and I almost hesitate to share him online right now, but let me tell you why I share him and then how to find him. So he has just decades under his belt and has created this farm with his wife, Suzanne. It's called Reverence Farm. It's in North Carolina, of course. All our favorite people are in North Carolina. But what Dr. Karaman shares is the approach that we're gonna go after the welfare of the animal first, which is so obvious. But it's surprising how easy we as homesteaders fall into what is convenient for us, what is practical for us, what is going to help us be the most sustainable farmers or homesteaders that we possibly can be. And that is really important, right? We need to get into the things that matter most to us and that we will be most interested in and most passionate about, and we're gonna give it the best care. But the reality is there is so little that you can go into expecting in return from your cow. And what we can expect in return from our cow is they help us steward the land. They're gonna stomp down things we don't want. They're gonna stomp in seeds that we do want. Our cows are gonna do a lot of work on the property, but they are not workhorses. And one thing that I've learned from the Stockholder Exchange is that our cows are going to be dump trucks or they're gonna be race cars. And a lot of us want this grass-fed milk, this A2. We're going for all the best paperwork desirability. And Goldie is not a dump truck. She is not going to be the cow that is bred genetically to go out on grass and be completely satisfied by grass. She's just not that. And I don't know that it would have changed our decision when we were buying her, but knowing that she is a race car, knowing that she will metabolize her food best and she will produce a lot of milk, actually a lot of milk, like 3 gallons a day milk, knowing this is best achieved and she is her healthiest when she is on grass, yes, but also being fed a mix of grains and alfalfa and black oil sunflower seeds and oats. Like, these are the things that she needs in order to be at her best. So we've been sick for the last week and Goldie has been out in the field in our pasture just like normal. And Bo's been the one going back to check on her. But we noticed that she's got this kind of tongue wagging, panting. We're seeing her teeth, which is really unusual for her. Kind of like a heaviness in her breath. So you can see right here, it's almost like, over this way, like a panting. And I messaged Suzanne in the Stockholders Exchange and she was so quick to tell me, hey Kelly, that is fescue. That is your cow responding to, basically, I shouldn't use the word toxicity, but that's the best way my brain can process this, is that in the summer, when the fescue is tall and it's kind of tap rooting and hey, be good, establishing itself as that drought resistant crop, in our minds, we've really got to think through permaculture and what are we prioritizing here on our property? Are we going to prioritize? We have to decide, are we going to prioritize this drought proofing our property and establishing, you know, anything that'll take root and help us encourage the topsoil, or are we going to prioritize our cow? And I don't know that it's always just one or the other, but I do know that we can't just be die hard the cow only, and we can't just be die hard the ground only. We've got to find a way for them to work together. But with this fescue, Goldie's basically eating it, and then she's kind of having a hard time breathing. And I'll have to go back and look at my notes and like correct it, or in my messages with Suzanne, and correct whatever I tell you here that's not true or accurate. It's probably a nicer way to say it. But it sounds like Goldie's browsing, she's eating the grass as normal, but when she eats the fescue, you guys have to see this. This is why I love this cow. Obviously, this is not her actual daughter, but boy, that little Angus baby, she is so satisfying being groomed by this mama of hers. This is BB right here, and she was a bottle calf basically, or you know, an abandoned calf, and we got her at auction because we needed a nurse calf for Goldie. And sometimes you get a calf and they're just like the best thing ever, and these two love each other just like dearly. About 9 months ago, we had a decision that we were going to drought-proof our property. We were going to take really seriously the call to steward the land well, and that meant we were going to take a look at using these animals to help us manage or steward this 7 acres that we're on. And Goldie has been a champ. She's amazing. But when I see her panting like this, and I'm like, hey, I am out of my depth. This is not my skill set. I don't know what to do when a cow is not well. We've been through a lot with her. After she gave birth in the fall of 23, we were ready for like milk fever, all the things that we could read up on. But we weren't prepared for was ketosis. And when we talked to our vet, the vet was like, oh, I'm sure everything's fine. We ended up having a mobile vet come with an astronomical price point. But for us, it was peace of mind because he could say, yep, she's in ketosis. We're gonna take some blood from her. We're gonna check on that. We're gonna make sure that we give her solutions. But even a diagnosis of that without having to go through the typical veterinarian route for solution, we knew the one thing we could do was help her eat. So we went a much more holistic route, poured some molasses on feed, and got her eating as quick as we could, because that's the solution to your cows being in ketosis. It's not just a very fad diet. Ketosis is one of those things like you really don't want your cows in it. You don't want them burning fat. But for these high producers, for these cows that are especially the race car cows, they need fuel, and they're gonna burn through fuel, and they're gonna produce, and they're gonna give. But they're gonna need a lot of high maintenance in return. So Suzanne's suggestion was that we dilute the fescue. So as best we could, she suggested go ahead and get her some chaff hay. We have alfalfa on hand, so we got her alfalfa hay. And basically the goal is manage her and not the fescue, because we won't ever be able to do that as quickly as we would ever possibly need to, if at all. And so instead, we're giving her this chaff hay, and we're giving her some apple cider vinegar in her water. Hey, how doing?
I haven't seen
better
do that in almost a week.
Yeah. So Bo was saying Goldie really hasn't been giving BB the attention and like managing her the way that we are used to seeing her do. Hello, are you curious too? You're always so curious. And she's precious, and she's wonderful to us, and we love her so much, but she is a learning curve, and she takes work, and she requires this. She requires the hands-on touch every day. Oh, did you see that? Was she a little bit wobbly there? Hey, you're never over here. What's up?
And the mineral tub.
Anything that we can do to keep her nutrition up is the goal, especially when we see her struggling in any area. So this is a mineral tub, and it's free choice. She's gonna get what she needs when she wants it from here. And then another thing that we have set up for her, this is the area where they are always, where they always are at night, is other free choice minerals. So this is kelp and Redmond's mineral salt. And we'll come back and fill this up. I know if you don't have animals, this looks like that couldn't possibly be enough for them. This is just something they come and taste, and then if we put too much in, it'll actually wash out in the rain. But in the meantime, we just come in here and check on this daily. And then ample waterers. So we just have waterers every single place that we can. And then the last thing that we're doing is putting apple cider vinegar into her waterer every day. And that's kind of hit or miss too. Like, we're really just trying to low intervention but high impact take care of this summer fescue issue, because the reality is she's going to get into it wherever we are. There's not a spot on the property that doesn't have it. So it may not look like much, but when you're out here and your hands are on your cow every single day, and you can notice these subtle changes, like her eyes are a little bit wider than she normally has them open. She doesn't seem at rest. The good things are we've seen her chewing her cud. We've seen her lay down and get up. It's a hot, hot day, so it's not likely that she's going to be really contented to be just eating throughout the day. She does a lot of eating in the evening hours, which makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like us. Like, I'd rather be in the pool during the day and then cooking later at night. Like, I get it. I get it. I used to think that we ran this channel so that people would be like, oh, we could homestead too. If you guys can do it, we can do it. There is totally that truth. Like, yes, if you see people, if the Lord's given you a dream and you see people doing what you want to do, reach out to them, reach out to us, connect with them. But it's just foolish to assume that anyone's highlight reel is going to be their reality. And it's beautiful. I so deeply desire for people to be connected to their food. I so deeply desire for us to be people who give a crap, who care about what is grown and how it is grown, and to be invested not just for the betterment of our health, that we would live longer lives, but just simply because we're meant to it. Like, we are out of dust and we will be returned to dust. And in the meantime, let's stop acting like we're not. And for homeowners, for homesteaders, people who want to be so connected, and for us, those of us who have cows, like, or are considering cows, walking into owning a cow is not like buying a car. It's not like getting a dog. This is such a commitment that will be one of, I don't even know if this is the right thing to say, but I would say owning a cow is the strongest learning curve that you could ever have, especially when you're starting it off on your own. If you don't have a neighbor who owns dairy, you're going to be in the dark about a lot of things. You have to search out your own light. You have to be very discerning in who we listen to and how we react to our animals. I was just learning so much the other day about preventative care, about what we should have in our first aid kit for our cows. So many things that I have already, but as far as a first response kit for my cow, it's incomplete. So there are a lot of things that we need to prepare for, especially when we consider AIing her this summer. Toward the end of the summer, our plan is for Goldie to get pregnant and us to have like an early spring baby. There are always going to be problems on the homestead. There are always going to be hardships. It's not a petting zoo. We're not here just to raise pretty animals to share on the internet, or even just to look at outside. Like, from the ducks and their nutrition to the pigs and how they're going to feed us. We have such consideration for each step of their care, from their nutrition to the ground that they're walking on, the water that they have, even the nutrition into the water. Can we supplement electrolytes and apple cider vinegar, for example, into their water to help support them? And they're going to struggle in the seasons just like we do. So our mental health went into a pool this summer. So we were like, we're never going through another Texas summer without a pool for our cows. We're never going to go another Texas summer without being ready for this fescue situation. We've never noticed it in the past. We've had Goldie for 3 years. We've never had this struggle with her kind of like straining for breath, and then pinpointing it to fescue. So there are just those things that I want people to have milk cows. I want people to want milk cows. I want people to grow gardens. I don't know if you've noticed, but this is really intentional on our part. And we know that we're going to chase some people off with this. We're going slow. We're going slow in video. We're going intentional with video. We're not doing a lot of shorts, not a ton of reels of quick, snappy information, because I think that's someone else's role right now. It's just not the role we feel called to. And right now, on social media and on YouTube or even on our Patreon, our goal is to share the life that we've been given and the way that we're stewarding the land responsibly and cautiously and thoughtfully, without appearing like it's just a fast, quippy, everything's fine, let's smile all the time. We're just not interested in the 1-minute sound bites. It is so easy for 1-minute sound bites or reels on Instagram or whatever shorts on YouTube pop up to make life oversimplified. And it's just not. Like, it's not, nothing is simple. Whether you live in the city or you're living here on the farm, none of it is simple. We're all choosing what is challenging or our own version of what's hard. The reason we choose it here is because we really feel that urge to kick against the culture of quick, short, easy, take everything in 1-minute clips that paint a certain picture without giving a full view. And I just admire so many people who do that really well. I have a lot of friends who are great at reels and shorts, and they're sharing so much value there. But we know that in this season, I guess maybe with our family or our animals in general, that we're meant to take the time. We're meant to slow down. We're meant to share intentionally in a way that when you click on our channel, I hope that you're feeling roots. I hope that you feel a length of time that you're not going to be bombarded with too much at once, but you're also not going to be bored or have smoke blown up your skirt about something that is just not true. So I hope today, as we share, I'm watching a cow pee, which is another great thing about the cows, is they're depositing that nitrogen back into the earth. When you watch us, I hope that you get that feel that we want to invite you in. We are not looking for just a surface fly by the edges. We want you to feel like our home is accessible to you in this way. We can't have everyone over for food. We can't always have a latte in my kitchen together, but we can sit and we can talk and we can take a breath together. And we can slow down together, because we've lived that very busy city life. And even in those places, the value of slowing down, the value of rest, the value of honoring that rest is, I think, critical not only to our health, but to our relationships. And we're just so grateful that you take that time to sit down and rest with us. So thanks for being here today. I hope this was something that blessed you. I hope it didn't scare you away from having a cow. We wouldn't have it any other way. One of those things where I'll get an Instagram comment or maybe even here in a DM, and it'll say like, oh, I'm so jealous of your cow. Oh, that milk is so amazing. And she is right. Man, every time you message, You are spot on. It is amazing, and it is so great, and it is so, so wonderful. And I do hope more people get into this dairy, small dairy on your homestead lifestyle, because it's remarkable. And I think it is one way to create food sovereignty, or to take your ground in food sovereignty and say, I'm not giving this to anyone else. I'm standing firm in this. Milk for you, milk for your community. I also really care about cows, and I don't want cows going to homesteads that are unprepared. I want you to feel prepared and grounded and sound, and for you to be successful at this, because I think we're successful at this, even though we have this issue that is quite literally unavoidable. We can't keep her off of this type of grass, but we can seek out true knowledge, like from our friend at Vaughn Family Farm, from the Stockholders Exchange, from Dr. Karaman's books, because these are the sound experience and wisdom. And in a world where we microwave everything and we Google, shallow search anything that could be helpful, you got to go deep here. You gotta get rich information from people who have experience. So I hope that's helpful to you. Thank you for being here, guys. I can't wait to just continue the summer together. We appreciate you so much.